Ex-middleweight world champion Rich Franklin left behind his active competition in 2012 after a highly documented career in which we saw him go up against some of the sport's biggest names, including Vitor Belfort, Anderson Silva, Wanderlei Silva, and Chuck Liddell. Now, a decade later, he said that he might come back to the ring. Here's everything we know about that. First up, could we see Franklin compete anytime soon? In an interesting turn of events, the former fighter revealed that he'd definitely consider fighting again. That is, under the correct circumstances. The 47-year-old hasn't gone into the Octagon since November 2012, when he was defeated against Cung in a middleweight bout. Despite not actually competing for the previous decade, Franklin has remained active in the world of MMA by taking on the role of vice president for ONE Championship. Acting as the face of the promotion, Franklin moves throughout Asia and the US for speaking engagements, doing promotion work for fights, and sometimes even hosting seminars. He also works with ONE Championship fighters directly. Even though the ex-world champion has adjusted into his role away from the ring, working as an executive, he confessed during an interview with former UFC middleweight Chael Sonnen that he still wants to compete. "I look at old videos of myself and I'll be watching TV, and it feels like I'm watching somebody else. It was a different time, and sometimes I scratch my head like, why do people do this?" Make no mistake about it, under the right circumstances, I would probably be like, yeah, I got a couple more left in the tank. Even though the ex-UFC fighter didn't dive deep into the details of what he meant by right circumstances, the fact that Ace is even thinking about a possible return to competition is enough on its own to make headlines and get long-term MMA fans hyped up. Next up, how he found the transition from fighter to executive. Around 2 years after his last fight, Franklin signed himself up to be the vice president of ONE Championship. He helped the organization expand and turn into the global giant that it has become. He said it's been a rewarding experience for him, but Ace confessed that at first, it was hard for him to feel like an executive instead of a fighter every time he stepped into an arena. He described the transitional journey as an odd one. It took him a pretty long time, a year and a half, before he could go into the arena and not feel like he was there to compete in a match. When speaking to Sonnen, the ONE vice president continued by describing how he was sitting here throughout and he hated watching without being able to compete. But after a while, he got used to it, and he enjoys his time at the arena outside the ring. Finally, what's next for ONE Championship? The ONE Championship vice president has officially confirmed that the Singapore-based promotion is making plans and moving closer towards its first big event in the US, which will probably happen in 2023. The Ace said to Boardroom that the organization in its entirety is definitely going to be growing into fresh territory. Not only are there going to be events held in Singapore, but if things go according to plan, they'll also be happening in the United States in 2023. Apparently, this was also the plan a few years earlier, but as a result of the pandemic and COVID-19 protocols put in place in Singapore, those plans had to be put on an indefinite pause. With restrictions being slowly taken away as we move away from the pandemic, the organization is excited to set their business model into full swing for MMA fans all over the United States. The organization has definitely progressed a lot this year. According to reports, ONE Championship is presently broadcast in over 150 countries throughout the globe. Now that there's a new multi-year partnership, Canada and the US are finally going to have the chance to watch Singapore's martial arts events on prime-time TV. The very first out of 5 big events to be broadcast live this year is going to be one on Prime Video 1, Moraes vs. Johnson II. The star-studded event is going to have a live broadcast from Singapore on Friday, August 26th. People in the US can tune in via Prime Video. With so many plans in the making at this point, the new executive has told fans that they can look forward to a ONE Championship event to be hosted in the US, possibly even next year. Until then, however, American fans can watch ONE's rockstar performances on Amazon Prime Video. Now, one question remains: what can we expect from ONE Championship? Glad you asked. We're going to see American MMA greats such as Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Johnson fighting at ONE. Franklin is excited to add brand new American talent to help boost their roster and have an even bigger appeal to the American fans. The ex-MMA fighter promised that they're going to deliver really exciting events fans in the United States haven't got to see before. In other related news, who in their right mind would assault a UFC fighter? That's the question we couldn't help asking when we found out that Jared Gordon, along with his family, were assaulted by an intruder. Gordon, as you may know, is an elite-level mixed martial art fighter, and if there ever was a time when he'd need those skills outside the arena, it was here. An unidentified assailant attempted to attack his family armed with a baseball bat. The New Yorker even put up a video on his social media channels in which we got to see the concluding moments of the attack. He said later that the video was basically just him subduing the guy with the bat after he attempted the attack. He was so furious. It was hard for him to keep himself from hurting the man further. His mother father called the cops right away. The clip was uploaded on Instagram. The video starts with Gordon already in touching distance of his attacker, who he manages to take down to the floor before the scuffle continues as the 33-year-old tries to disarm the man. Even though he was thrown on the ground and was seriously outnumbered, the stranger didn't quit and continued to fight back, didn't even let go of the bat, and later said he never had any intention of using said bat as a weapon. Yeah, there's no way that's not a lie. How would he explain that in court? After the bat is pried away from his stubborn hands, the man gets back up on his feet and has the audacity to ask for his bat back, of course. Gordon's whole family tells him to f off before he goes back to his car. Defeated and humiliated. Okay, as serious as it could have been, the whole thing sounds kind of funny. Next up, one UFC fighter wants to step away from the sport. While he wasn't exactly told about his retirement plans, it doesn't seem like Uriah Hall intends on fighting soon either. The UFC middleweight posted a statement on Instagram in which he announced that he'll be walking away from mixed martial arts, a sport in which he's competed professionally since 2005. Hall wrote that the announcement made him quite sad and that he's going to really miss the UFC staff that has almost become like a family for him, as well as his mentors. While he's grateful for the time he's got to spend at UFC, he's gotten an opportunity to leave his comfort zone. As to what he could possibly mean by that, we have no idea. His career has hardly begun, and it seemed like he was going to get way bigger than he was. If it is indeed goodbye for good, Hall will be leaving the sport with a 17-11 record. His rise to prominence was on The Ultimate Fighter 17. That is, prior to an upsetting loss against Kelvin Gastelum during the finals of the reality show. He had his ups and downs during his run in the UFC, but he did not get to fight many of the promotion's big talents. Finally, why Dana White refused a TV deal. The UFC chairman has confirmed that he turned down a contract with Hulu out of respect for Mike Tyson. Over the weekend, Tyson blasted the streaming service Hulu for their upcoming miniseries, which was centered around his life. He also thanked White for staying with him and his friendship. Talking to reporters after the Contenders series on Tuesday evening, White spoke on Tyson's recent declaration. Everything he said was true. White also explained his reasons behind doing this. White revealed that a deal was in the works with Hulu to help promote Tyson's biographical show. The head of production for the show, Craig Borsari, approached the UFC chairman and told him he'd heard of Tyson's displeasure over the show, after which Tyson revealed that he wasn't being treated fairly and wanted nothing to do with the series. He was so irritated, he referred to Hulu as a slave master. Tyson is infuriated with Hulu over the Mike miniseries. Apparently, not only did he have nothing to do with it, but he's also not been paid. As a result, Tyson publicly called out Hulu on Instagram. While we'd love to watch a miniseries about one of the world's greatest American ex-boxers, if he's not endorsing it, there's a chance the show won't portray things accurately. We'll have to wait and see. So far, we only have a trailer. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on Franklin returning to the ring? Are you going to watch the Mike miniseries? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.